Hey, how's it going everyone? I'm Martin and welcome back to the channel. In this video I've got a few things I wanted to go over. I was waiting for more information to drop before, I made this, just so I had a bit more to talk about that I could bundle into one big video. We've got a bunch of new information and images coming out of E3 since Bungie dropped the story reveal trailer at the Sony conference, which I'm sure most of you have seen by now, although I'll talk a little bit about that towards the end of the video since it brings up some questions of who the next Hunter Vanguard will be. Then we had the Gambit reveal, giving us a look at the exotic bow, and also Activision have released a ton of new high-res screenshots, which is what I wanted to take a look at first in this video. So one of the images released that really caught my eye was this concept art of Prince Uldren. You can tell it's him because it's an awoken male, and of course he has this crow on his shoulder, but I want to draw your attention to the weapon in his hand. It appears to be a Sawn-Off double-barrel shotgun, which is a type of weapon we've never seen before in Destiny, and I'm really hoping that this is a hint that we could get some kind of exotic Sawn-Off shotgun as sort of a one-off exotic in this expansion, kind of like Prince Uldren's personal shotgun or something. And then later down the line, Bungie could introduce more varieties of Sawn-Off shotguns. I think that'd be pretty cool, although do keep in mind that this is just concept art, so it's not definite or anything, but it's kind of a cool idea. I would be interested in sort of seeing what kind of benefits this Sawn-Off shotgun, could bring, and what sort of advantage it could have over other shotguns and how it would fit into the sandbox. But it would be awesome to see this as an exotic. Let me know what you think. In some of the screenshots, we got a better look at this exotic sword. We caught a glimpse of it in the trailer. It appears to be a void sword that releases this wave of void energy, so it has some sort of range to it, and it has a unique look to it with this curved blade. Exotic swords in Destiny 1 were probably among some of the most fun weapons, so I'm looking forward to trying this one out. We also see this exotic hand cannon, which again was briefly shown in the Vidoc, but here we get a much clearer look at it. It seems that it's actually some sort of taken hand cannon. It has these sort of blue flames that vent along the weapon when you fire it, and has this sort of taken darkness effect. It really reminds you of Thorn. I feel like maybe this is supposed to be a nod to that, almost like a twin or spiritual successor to Thorn. Also, Petra Venj is going to be making a return looking badass as ever. I'm interested in finding out what sort of role she's going to be playing in the new DLC and how she might help us out throughout the story. She'll probably become a vendor at one of the new locations or something. Although, whilst I was writing up this video, a little thought I had was, since Cade dies, also, yes, spoiler, Cade dies in case you weren't already aware, which I'm sure you are. If not, oops. Since Cade dies, what if Petra became our new Hunter Vanguard? I know she's not a hunter, but perhaps she became our replacement for Cade and the one who we go to for our weekly Flashpoint activity. I know she's not really a hunter, like I said, but it's just a thought that I wanted to throw out there. Next we have some information coming from PC Gamer. They got to talk to some of the folk working on Forsaken and gave us some little details that I thought I'd chuck into this video. First they asked, can you pull stuff out of your collection like you would at an exotic kiosk? Scott Taylor said, yeah, you can pull out exotics, you can pull out year 1 stuff, and then Forsaken, random rolls, we're going to dive into the details of that soon. Shaders you'll also be able to pull out as well. Now, I'm honestly not too sure what they meant here by this, being able to pull shaders out from your collection. I'm not sure if they meant that once you collect a shader, it'll be in your collection forever and you can pull out as many as you want and you don't need to, stack them up anymore. I feel like if that was the case, they would have clarified that a bit better. So it's a little bit confusing here, and so I guess we'll just have to wait for more clarification on what they meant here. Then they asked, if a Better Devils drops in year 2, will it now have random perks, or will it be like it was in year 1? And can we bring the power up through infusion? Scott Taylor replied, the random rolls are going to be focused on year 2 weapons, but you can infuse the year 1 weapons and bring them with you. If you love Better Devils, by all means bring it with you, but it won't be getting those random perks. So, year 1 weapons will still have fixed rolls, new ones won't drop, new versions of year 1 weapons won't drop with random perks, they'll still have fixed perks. It's going to be only entirely new year 2 weapons introduced with Forsaken that will have random rolls. If you want to keep those year 1 weapons, you can still infuse them and bring them up to the new power level, which by the way is going to be 600. That is going to be the new max cap, and the level XP cap is going to be 50. Also, as for Cade's death, Scott Taylor confirmed in this interview that once again, he is dead. He is 100% dead. Then they asked about 3 particular fan favourite exotics from Destiny 1, Thorn, The Last Word and Hawkmoon, asking about the possibility of them coming back. Chris Barrett said, "We're not announcing anything. We know there's a beloved weapons and I'd like to see them return at some point as well. There's going to be tons of awesome new stuff in Forsaken. So no, not right now, those weapons won't be returning, at least not in Forsaken, but it does seem to be something they've thought about and they're well aware that fans want." But Scott Taylor then did go on to say this: "If you look at the new Gambit trailer, you might see a little something." And I believe that this was hinting at that spooky Taken looking hand cannon that I talked about earlier. So it seems that hand cannon could have taken some inspiration from Thorn, and I really can't wait to see what that hand cannon does and what its perks are. Then lastly from this interview, talking about bows come in 3 different varieties: short, medium and long range. Typically you'll use them at closer ranges than a sniper rifle, but they do have more ammo. They're not exactly something you'd want to use constantly like a regular weapon, but sort of more as a one-off high damage shot. Moving on, as part of Forsaken, Bungie are introducing 9 new supers, adding them onto our current skill trees. Some channels already have gameplay of these, but one I was interested in particular is the new Solo Warlock super, which is what I wanted to talk about. With this new super, you can now slam down a sword into the ground, which will stay there, and this will provide a damage buff for you and your teammates stood inside the area, as well as health regen and overshield. Then on top of that, solar grenades that the Warlock can throw will also be able to heal teammates as part of this super, which I think sounds awesome. It sounds like the first sort of true team player support subclass in Destiny and has a lot of potential, so I'm really looking forward to trying that out as well. Next we had the Gambit reveal the other day. Those lucky enough to attend E3 got to play Gambit, and those who attended the Bungie Summit a couple months ago are now allowed to talk about that and what they saw and what they played and their opinions. In some of the gameplay, players got their hands on an exotic bow called Trinity Ghoul. It's an arc bow. Its exotic perk means that it splits off into multiple arrows, and when you land a precision kill, the next arrow deals chain lightning. I unfortunately don't have any gameplay of this myself, but other content creators do. I'll link a few of their videos in the description below if you'd like to check out some gameplay of this bow for yourself. Based off what I've seen and heard, the bow does look to be a ton of fun to use. Maybe not the most efficient, but definitely a lot of fun. Lastly here, I wanted to talk about Cade's death, which I'm sure you've all seen by now in the trailer. He takes a bullet point blank to the face by Prince Uldren, and with his own gun, the Ace of Spades no less. Which I'm guessing is going to be a hint that this exotic could be making a return in this expansion. Although according to Game Rant, they had a hands-on preview with the first story mission, and apparently his death doesn't quite happen the way it does in the trailer. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but with the way the mission plays out, it still sets us up for wanting revenge and he does still die. Now, Cade was probably the only sort of likeable character, and whilst it's sad to see him go, I think it's the sort of death we need in Destiny. He's the only one with any sort of personality, the only one we really care about, other than, say, maybe someone like Eris Morn, and therefore his death actually holds some weight. It would be kind of pointless to just resurrect him at the end, or just kill off some character that no one cares about, and it would just mean the whole story is pointless if he just comes back to life. So I'm glad to see Bungie are putting some grit back into this game. Now this leaves the question, who will be the next Hunter Vanguard? Could we see the introduction of a new character, or perhaps an already known Hunter can make an appearance and fill those shoes? Say, for example, Eris Morn, although I kind of doubt that, but Eris Morn's a Hunter, so I thought I'd just chuck her in here. Petra Venj, like I said earlier, but she's not a Hunter, but she's going to be in this expansion, so just a name I thought I'd throw in the hat as well. Possibly Shiro 4 from Rise of Iron, and maybe some others, we don't really know yet. Time will tell, but let me know what you think. In the post-Sony livestream on YouTube, Steve Cotton and Scott Taylor also talked about a couple of things, mainly stuff we already know about. They talked about the Dreaming City, which is one of the new explorable locations, and is also going to house the new raid, and said that the Dreaming City will have a lot of secrets and puzzles for players to find, and it's a location that will evolve over time. Like I said, stuff that we kind of already knew from the Vidoc. The raid isn't just going to be this standalone, separate thing. It's going to tie in with the story of Forsaken and be sort of the culmination of the story. So in a way similar to how the Taken King was, when we defeated Oryx in the campaign, but then we actually went to kill him in the raid. I had the idea that perhaps Prince Uldren could be the raid boss, since all of the bosses in Destiny tend to be big scary aliens, but it'd be interesting to see a regular Awoken become a boss, you know, someone that's more on our scale. However, I don't think he will be the raid boss. I think that'd be a bit too predictable, and even Bungie kind of hinted that themselves, that would be a bit too predictable, so I don't think it's going to be Prince Uldren, as cool as that would be, but it's just a little idea I had when I was making this video. So that's about all for the Destiny stuff. I'm very excited. I'm also really looking forward to a few other games which are shown at E3 that I kind of want to bring to their channel, specifically Halo Infinite and Anthem. We don't really have much information on Halo Infinite just yet, or even Anthem for that matter, but boy am I excited for the possibilities. I'll be trying to make videos on both of these soon, that is, if I actually follow up on what I say for once. A few of the games I'm interested in are Fallout 76, Red Dead Redemption 2, even though I don't think they've shown anything about that at E3, at least Red Dead, and maybe Death Stranding, even though I have no idea. I don't think anyone has any idea what the fuck is going on in that game, but it's just some games that caught my attention. I've honestly never actually played a Fallout game before, not because I haven't wanted to, just I haven't really had the time. But the online stuff and what they showed at E3 and just being able to nuke each other does look like a lot of fun, so I'm tempted to try that out as well and possibly bring it to the channel, depends on what it's like. Let me know what games you're looking forward to down in the comments. In case you aren't aware, I recently started my new job at Game, which is why videos have been a little sparse. That, and I also lack the ability to focus on something long enough to see a video through to completion. But as always, I do hope that you enjoyed the video. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.